everyone, Brendan the Blind Guy here. Now here's to breaking up the COVID blues that shook the world like London bombs, and I tell you, gave us 99 ways to go insane. And some random wise man once said that love is a drug, and well, so is music, and it don't let me down ever. And so whether your name is Sarah or Scott, or whether you're stuck in a foreign land like New York or Ethiopia, it's time to wake up and get excited, because I give to you Kav, the lead singer from multi-platinum selling Aussie rockers, Eskimo Joe. How are you, Kav?
Crowd goes wild. I'm very good, Brendan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm glad you like the intro.
Yeah, I feel like that could have been like a good wedding speech, actually, I reckon. You know, just the kind of as many puns that you can throw in as possible.
Yeah, that is a very good idea. I could be like a wedding celebrant for hire with all my pun intros.
You got to study for like a year to do that. When I got married, I asked Stu if he could study to be a celebrant and do the ceremonies at our wedding, and he was like, yeah, that sounds great. And then he came back about like 3 months later. He was like, oh, that's a year-long course. That's not going to happen. We still had him doing some official moments, but then we had another celebrant who turned out wasn't actually a legally ordained celebrant at that point in time. So then we had another celebrant as well. So we had three celebrants, and one of them was legal. So we actually.
Oh, well, that's good. Oh, well, that's very good. You got there in the end.
We did.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, so recently you guys in Eskimo Joe released the incredibly infectious new single 99 Ways. And I say incredibly infectious because the first time I listened to it, I had it stuck in my head for the rest of the day and the next day. And so I remember last time we talked, Kav, you were saying that the reason why you wanted to do a solo album was because you had all of these really positive, bright ideas that just didn't meld into an Eskimo Joe album. And I listened to this song, 99 Ways, and it's got the heavy-heartedness with the lyrics, like a typical Eskimo Joe song, and the edginess to it. But it's also got a kind of renewed light and energy and just a real passion to it. So, and like I noticed the attention grabbing strings like in Pollyanna. So run us through the kind of lyrical and inspirations behind this song.
Well, I do think
inspirations, I should say.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on the money there, where it does feel like a newly invigorated Eskimo Joe, because I did get to go off and do a solo record. Joel's been off doing a bunch of other writing and recording with other people. So if you've been in a band for a really long time, sitting down in a room with each other and you guys being the only people that you bounce off creatively, that can kind of after 15, 16 odd years, that can kind of get a little bit frustrating, because everyone's like, but what about my idea? So I think we've both got to go away and get all of those things that have been hanging around off our chest. And so coming back together, it was just really, really easy, and no one was trying to prove anything. There was no like, oh, but I've got this idea. Everyone was just like, cool, let's write a song. And so it just felt really fresh and really real, and we were kind of motivated to do it on the back of we had released this song, Say Something. And Say Something was, the first Esky song that we'd written since the Wastelands album.
Oh, yeah.
And that song kind of came about because I was in Melbourne and Joel lives in Melbourne. And I just dropped into his house and I said, oh, look, I've got this song. I reckon it'd make a great Eskimo Joe song. And lo and behold, it did. And we released it, and it got such a great response on radio and from fans that we thought, you know what, let's do another song. So that led us through to 99 Ways. And of course, by that time, the world had gone through a hardcore pandemic, and and life as we know it had completely changed. Like the start of writing 99 Ways was basically me trapped in my bedroom with a fever, because we'd just gotten back from America, and I came down with a fever. So Like you said, it's a very infectious song. It started in a very literally infectious way.
Yeah, wow.
We didn't know whether I had COVID or what. No one was testing for it in Perth, so
Uh,
I just had to isolate in my bedroom for 2 weeks while my family were on the other side of the door. And
uh,
I had my piano in my room, so I just started to kind of, tap away at this song, which was about longing and wanting to be with my loved ones and so on. And I think, that's my story about, living through the pandemic. And I'm sure that's a lot of people's story,
mm,
just, feeling that longing for, whether your loved ones are on the other side of a door or in, the next state or another country and you can't get to them. People are still separated from their families at the moment. And I
yeah.
think that's probably going to be the really interesting stories that are going to come out from all of the artists over this pandemic period, because, you can say that, it's, artists are going to write about the pandemic, but no one's going to write, oh, yeah, this thing came and we all got infected and then we all had to isolate. No one's going to write that story. They're going to write the story about the simple human stuff, like
Yeah.
it's my loved ones. That's the most honest and simple story that you can do.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Wow. It's good when you like put it into perspective like that. And yeah. Wow. Hmm. Cool. Okay. So you guys also announced that next year. I mean, I was very disappointed to see that it was 2022, not 2021 that it was, because I was looking at the tour dates and I was going, "Ooh, April, April," and then I saw 2022 and I'm like, "Oh, that's over a year away." Yeah. But still, the wait will be worth it. I know because I've seen you guys live many times, blind pun intended. Um, so you guys are doing the Black Fingernails Red Wine in the City tour, where you're playing both of the massive albums, Black Fingernails, Red Wine, and A Song Is the City in both of their entireties, which is incredible. So, what was the inspiration for doing these two albums on tour? Was it just kind of like you're itching to get out on the road, and you're like, yeah, let's play these two albums in full, just for poops and giggles.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I mean, obviously, A Song Is a City and Black Fingernails were both really big and important albums for us and for our fans. A Song Is a City was really us kind of arriving, in maturely as a band. Girl was we really enjoyed making Girl and it was really important to us. But A Song Is a City, we really felt like we kind of nailed it for the first time. Our songwriting and our production, we took a lot of control over it. And same with Black Fingernails Red Wine. That was a self-produced album, and it was just a really great moment in time when the stars seemed to align. Everybody in the band was pulling in the same direction, so it was a really harmonious time for us. And we just really felt like it would be a really special thing to go out and play those albums from start to finish for
Mm,
ourselves, so we can play some of the songs that we've never played ever off those
mm,
records, but also for our fans who,
yeah,
probably took those albums into their lives and made it the soundtrack of their lives. So I feel like
yeah,
that's a really special thing we can do for them. And I think that the idea of this had been hanging around for a while. And then, 2020 happened. And
mm,
so we thought, maybe we'll wait till 2021. But it just feels like this year is going to be another yo-yo year of
yeah,
gigs being cancelled and all the rest of it. And we just want everyone to feel really safe, really confident that the gig's going to go ahead. So it's funny because our press release says, playing these two albums and some surprises. The surprise is the gig's happening in a year's time.
yeah.
So yeah, we
Wow.
will get and do it, and it is a long way away, but it means that it gives us time to practice and put on a really amazing show, and it
Yep.
gives us a chance for everyone to kind of get vaccinated and do whatever they need to do to feel safe to go to a show.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's awesome because it's almost like well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems like since the pandemic happened, you really got a chance to kind of, reflect on all of those years and go look back on it all and go, well, these two albums were just such a two defining albums. And so was it kind of like a bit of a, reminiscent of the pandemic kind of made you really appreciate it more?
Yeah, I think when you're on that treadmill of like going out and playing shows and coming home and going and playing shows, it just becomes this kind of constant, weird, blurry world that you're living in.
Mm,
And this is certainly the first time since I was 19 that I haven't gotten on a plane within like, a 3 week period to go
yeah.
and play a show or do something. So I've literally been at home in Frio where I live for longer than I have since I was a teenager, which is
Wow.
kind of amazing if you think about it like that.
Yeah.
And it really does make you appreciate it when you kind of step off that treadmill for a while. And I think where we're at in our lives as well, creatively, like we get to do Eskimo Joe, but we also get to do these other things outside of Eskimo Joe. And that has really allowed us to actually, because we did these reissues, right? We started to put out all these reissues on vinyl, and we
Mm,
remastered, and we found all the B-sides and we put them out. And I think it was the first time in a long time any of us in the band had actually gone back and listened to the records, because once you make a
yeah.
record, you don't go and listen to it again. You just go, you start making the next record.
Yeah.
So I think we all got to listen back and go, you know what? We should be really proud of this. Yes, we matured and we changed and we probably sound a little bit different now or whatever. But what we did was really, really amazing. Like we achieved this thing, and people, ran with it, and they took it, like I was saying before, they took it into their lives and made it part of their story. And
Mm,
and I think we're all for the first time able to be proud of that. And I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah,
um,
definitely.
that it's allowed us to reflect on it in a really positive light, as opposed to, oh no, that's the old sound, we're working on the new sound now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So, you guys, 35 times ARIA nominations and 11 time ARIA award winning. And I was thinking, wow, that's incredible. Did you got when you first formed? Did you ever imagine that over 20 years later, one, you'd still be a band, and two, still be a household name? Because like even a support worker of mine that like knows no modern bands whatsoever. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm talking to the lead singer of Eskimo Joe," and she went, "Oh yeah, I know them." So, you're a household name now. Did you ever imagine that it would be like that?
Look, I think you go through different phases of having fantasies of being the biggest band in the world, or
Yeah,
just selling to the people in your own backyard. But I think when we started, our ambition was to what we like to call go gold in Perth, which
yeah.
basically means we would play, like at the time when we first started, there was a place called the Grosvenor Back Room, and that's where all the bands would play. And we're like, if we can sell out, the Grosvenor Back Room and sell 500 CDs, then we've made it. But
Yep.
but lo and behold, each time you do one thing, you start to be ambitious about the next big thing. And I think that's how it was for us. Each time we reached another mountaintop, as we got to the top of the mountain and put our flag in it, we'd like, oh, look at that mountain over there, that looks pretty sweet. So we'd start
Yeah.
climbing the next mountain, and on we went.
Yeah.
And there's probably a point somewhere in between where, like I said before, we just took it for granted. We were just like, yeah, this is just what we do, we're a big
Yeah.
band. But yeah, certainly this last year or two has allowed us to really reflect back, and not just at what we achieved professionally, but also, just maintaining a relationship between three dudes for
Yeah.
over 20 years. I mean, that feels like a miracle in itself, because you
Yeah.
know it's not that easy. You've got to
No.
actually work through your issues, and you have, like a marriage, you have like good years and bad years with it. And I'm happy to say that we're definitely going through a good year this year.
That's fantastic. Especially after last year. I mean, this year is the year for you know new relationships, renewed relationships, and it's all over the place thanks to COVID. But yeah, anyway. All right. Well, I've got to ask. So, being on the topic of black fingernails, red wine, the song Sarah, it's a golden song. Everyone knows it and loves it, and I'll never forget that when you guys played at Paddington Uniting Church. on, let's see, Thursday, the 27th of June 2013. Because
Yep, that'll be correct.
Yeah, I've got a creepy memory when it comes to concert dates. It may be the 28th, but I'm pretty sure it's the 27th. And it was the Thursday because you were doing a Wednesday and a Thursday show, and I went to the second one. Anyway, um, so that's my fun fact for you people.
I love it. I love your memory for gigs. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, the first time I saw you live was at Coaster Festival on the 12th of September 2009. So,
well, that was a while ago.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I was saying about the song Sarah. When you were playing at Paddington Uniting Church, you said that many years ago or whenever it was, you were singing, Sarah, won't you tell me your name? And someone in the crowd called out, "It's effing Sarah!" And so it kind of made me think. I'm guessing a lot of fans would love to hear what the story of the song Sarah is about. I think Stu might have told me a little bit about it when I spoke to him a couple of years ago. But yeah, run us through what Sarah is actually about.
Well, I mean, a lot of those songs were written when I was kind of in my mid-20s. And, the type of relationships you have in your mid-20s are, people become your best friends. And then, like 2 months later, you don't even hang out with them anymore. It's kind of like, it's that time of your life. And and Sarah is still one of my friends. But at the time, in the chorus, "Emergency, I think I'm falling apart," she actually was quite ill and had to go in for an operation. And so that's kind of where that line came from, which was a bit heavier. But really, it's a comment on, the relationships that we have in our 20s. And that first line where everyone's like, "Why do you say Sarah? Won't you tell me your name if you know that her name's Sarah?" It's that thing of like, people can probably relate to it more now in the world of social media because someone, you see them around all the time, but you want to be introduced to them. You want to know who they are. And, we'd always go to this same kind of little pub down in Fremantle, and people were having different kind of romances and relationships. And I saw my friend Sarah kind of coming in and out of these like best friends for 2 months. And then, then it was somebody else was their best friend. And, and I don't think she had a boyfriend, but I was commenting on the fact that, there was lots of boys she could probably date if she really wanted to. And, again, it was A Song Is a City and Black Fingernails are kind of all from a similar era of just the politics and the social interactions of being like someone in your 20s living in Fremantle and all the people around there.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense because I never quite grasped the why you say Sarah. Won't you tell me your name? And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I was a bit of a typical fan, being naive or ignorant there.
Well,
so.
some of the lyrics are kind of obviously like metaphors or analogies, and some of them are literal as well, like the the line, "I've been waiting here for hours in the garden by the flowers" is true. Like I remember going to her house, waiting, like at the end of the night, waiting for those guys to come home and just sitting kind of drunk in the garden bed, just waiting for those her housemates to come home.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Oh, those were the days, eh? Oh.
Yes.
Okay, well, I reckon now it's time we get exclusive, Kav. Just me and you. So, so what would you say an exclusive fun fact is about yourself?
Well, an exclusive fun fact is I got a dog during the pandemic, and I've never been a dog guy. I've always had cats because I've traveled a lot, and cats, they don't really care if you come and go. They're just happy to stay at your house and eat your food. Whereas a dog is a completely different thing. And wasn't planning on getting a dog because I travel so much. But then my wife was like, check out this dog that's for sale down the road. And it was like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, is that even real? And we went and saw this dog, and he's a Pomeranian crossed with a Chihuahua. So he's a Pomchi. And I picked this little thing up, and he was like the tiniest little guy. And I like straight away, I was like, we'll take him. This lady came in. She's like, I'm just going to see the puppies. I'm like, there's no more puppies. So I fell instantly in love with this little guy. And we called him Kimchi. So he's Kimchi the Pomchi. He's got his own Instagram page, so you can check him out,
Awesome.
listeners. And I have become a total dog person. So every morning I wake up and me and Kimchi go for a walk on the beach, and he's obsessed with throwing balls. And my good friend Josh Pike the other day was like, hey, I'm doing this, this campaign for my new album. Like, can you film yourself doing something that makes you happy? And so I filmed me and Kimchi on the beach throwing the ball every morning, because that's what makes me happy.
That's wonderful. Very nice. I've got both cats and a dog, so yeah.
There you go, the menagerie of animals.
Yep. They win your heart and control it.
Brendan, like as someone who is visually impaired,
Yeah.
do you have a seeing eye dog?
I do. You saw him at the Opera House.
I did, yes.
Actually, hang on, Rusty.
And he's right here with us, is he?
Yep. Hang on a second. Come on, Rusty. He was at my.
Rusty's like, this is not part of the deal, man. Oh, look at him. Oh, and he's just like a good guy, isn't he? He's just like, I'm just doing my job, boss. That's part of the deal.
That's Kav. You saw him live at the Opera House, and he's just like, whatever. Let me go back to sleep.
Yeah, he's actually more of a hardcore metal fan, so he's not as into Eskies as yourself.
Oh well, yeah. He puts up with a bit of all genres from me. Bit of metal, bit of indie. Yeah.
Oh, good on him.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay. Well, enough of me disturbing Rusty from his slumber, because now I reckon it's time for my favourite question of all, Kav. That's right. Yes. You know what it is. It's what the F time. So, I know you've got plenty of priceless moments on your music career. What's the one? Well, you gave me one really what the F moment when we spoke 3 years ago for your solo album. But fans will have to go and find that interview and check that out for themselves. But what's another one that really takes the cake as being hilarious, priceless, what the F?
Well, we did a show a few years ago at the SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground, and I believe it was called Live 8 or something like that. And it was, a kind of like Live Aid, but it was, this huge show, and everyone from John Farnham to Coldplay to everyone was playing, and Barry Gibb, actually Taylor Swift played, I remember, and no one knew who Taylor Swift was, and she did pretty well. She was a brand new artist. Yeah. But anyway, just happened that our backstage room was next door to the toilets, and I wandered out, and Barry Gibb, from the Bee Gees, was going to be closing the whole gig with Olivia Newton-John singing together. And so it was going to be this really special moment and all the rest of it. Anyway, I walked out, and I needed to go to the toilet, and there was this like large bouncer just standing in front of the door. He's like, nope, can't go in here. And all I could hear was Barry Gibb doing his vocal warm-ups in the bathroom, and his vocal warm-ups was just him going it was like doing his like staying alive kind of vocal. It was just the most bizarre and amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. And he got up there and he Barry Gibbed it up, and it was amazing. But yes, I wish I had a bouncer who followed me around and just blocked people from going into the toilet every time I wanted to go in and do my But yeah, Barry Gibb doing his vocal warm ups. It was definitely an amazing what the F moment.
Wow. Oh, yeah, that is a little bit what the F. Like, and it would have been more what the F if the bouncer wasn't there and you just all of a
Oh, if I just
sudden.
walked in. What if I was in midstream, like just at the urinal, and suddenly behind me, all I hear is, I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah, that would have been a whole bunch more. What the F?
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Okay, well, I would seriously love to sit here chatting to you all day because I could think of so much more to ask you. I really could. And but anyway, you're a busy man, and unfortunately, I do have stuff to do later. But anyway, so we'll leave it with one more. So after you've released you just recently released 99 Ways, and we've all got your tour next year to look forward to. Is there more new music lurking around the corner? So, like, what's next?
Well, if this song does really well, I'm sure we'll jump back into the jam room and write another song. We're just kind of doing one song at a time as it feels right. We're not jumping in and making a whole record. We're
Yep.
not averse to doing that, but that takes a lot of time and a lot of money. So
Yeah.
just doing one song and putting it out just feels like the right way to do it. In the meantime, Joel's still working away on lots of other artists' music. I'm in the middle of working on another solo release, which will come out sometime this year, I'm sure. And that'll be an album. Stay tuned. There'll always be more music. I mean, we're lifers. We don't stop. So there just
Yeah.
might be a few years between drinks.
Oh, okay. So, well, you're basically musical energizer bunnies. You just
Pretty
it just
much.
keeps
Yep.
going and going.
That's right. And people always ask us, so what do you do in your spare time? I'm like, it's pretty depressing, but I just play music all the time. Much
There
to
is no
the
spare time.
There is no spare time. No,
No, music is my time. Yeah.
that's right.
Okay. Well, again, it has just been an absolute pleasure talking to you as always, Kav. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brendan. Lovely to chat to you.
You too, and I'm sure we'll speak again sometime soon.
We sure will. All right. I'll see you next time.
Will do, and see ya.